Hello, everyone. Okay, what we'll do now is kind of focus on each one of these sections one at a time. Like I said, a little bit shorter videos, and you can focus on maybe the pieces maybe you had a hard time with. The first one we'll focus on will be the step one. We'll go ahead and run this one more time. And in this case here, the problem was to count the vowels. All right, so this is one of these situations where, kind of an odd little assignment. Is it relevant to your career? Maybe, maybe not, but in some cases it is. But it's a good logical problem to make you think again what it is I need to do. So if you were looking for some magical way of counting vowels, there is no magical way of counting vowels. There is no magical way of counting words. But there is ways to combining your logic and utilizing a loop and utilizing an index within that loop to walk through a string. Okay, so in this case here, not to be, that is the question. I'm just pondering life with everything going on. So to be or not to be, that is the question. I told you before there are 13 vowels, and there you go. And counting the words, I kind of did both of these the exact same way. But let's talk about what it is I'm trying to do, and again, thinking like a programmer. So instead of sitting back and you got this assignment, a string manipulation assignment, and Bob says, go count the vowels, what is it you need to do? Are you out searching around? How in the heck do I count vowels? Well, no, that's not the answer. That's not what you do. You got to sit back and say, what is the problem? What is the problem at hand? This is like any programming problem given to you. What is the problem? What do I need to do in this problem? If you recall, what I normally tell you to do is what we want to be able to do is automate a manual process. So what is the manual process here? If I asked you to count the vowels, okay, if I just said, here is this sentence, go count the vowels. I'm not asking you to do it programmatically. I'm just saying, how would you go count the vowels? My guess is you would look at the sentence and starting at the left side, you would go all the way over and find a vowel and count it. Would you not? I mean, some people might hodgepodge it through and try to, oh, there's one, there's one, there's one. Yeah, we don't really want to do it that way because you probably mess up one way or the other. But a proper way of doing it is starting at a location and then go across in a systematic point of view and counting the things we want to count. In this case here, I would say is T a vowel. No, it's not. It's O a vowel. I'm doing this in my head, right? Even if I sit back and look at this, say, well, that's not a vowel, that's a vowel. In my head, logically, I'm asking the question, is T a vowel? So T is not a vowel. O is a vowel, so I have one. Is space a vowel? No. Is B a vowel? No. Is E a vowel? Yes, so I'm up to two. Is O a vowel? Three. R is not a vowel, and so on and so on, and I would end up with 13. I would go left to right like I'm reading a book or I'm reading a sentence and so on, and determine if the vowels are there. So you would say manually, that's how I would do it, Bob. Okay. Well, once again, what we want to do is automate this. We want to be able to look at this particular sentence and do the same thing automatically. And then that's the time you ask the questions, well, how do I do that? How would I possibly do that automatically with the set of tools that I know? So the tools that you know right now are conditional, and iterative, and sequential, right? And you got that iterative thing. Well, I'm going to ask, is this one? 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 Is that an iterative thing I'm doing by asking that same question over and over and over again? If the answer is yes, I have a loop. I'm looping. I'm doing the same thing over and over again until when? Until there is no more letters at the end. Okay, that's all good. How can I do that? Well, I need to know how many characters are actually in this particular sentence. All right, then I know when I end it all. All right. Once again, a string is a collection of characters. Okay. And what a programming language allows us to do is emulate exactly what we just did manually. We can break down or break out little pieces of our string by using some of the techniques that I actually taught you. In this case, what I want to do is I want to analyze this one. 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 So how do I pull those off one at a time? Well, find one of the techniques that will allow you to do so. In this case here, what things allow you to pull something off? Trim, length, remove, no, insert, pad left, pad right. Those are the ones I told you not to worry about. But substring accesses one or more characters contained in a string. Accesses means it allows you to pull it off. Okay, so I want to somehow pull off that one character using the substring, analyze that character, right? And then determine if it's a vowel or not. Make sense? And I want to do that until I am done with the string. Okay, all the way to the end. I got to tell my loop when to end, or it's going to keep going on forever. All right, so let's go in and look at the code for this. So in this code, I want you to look at this code once again, especially for people who, make sure it's consistent. I'm seeing some code that's not nearly as consistent as I like to see. Every one of my events should look like this. I'm going to validate something, and based upon my validation, I'm going to do something. In this case, I'm going to count my vowels with a function, and I'm going to display my output. Okay? It should look pretty much like this. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get my sentence from my text.text, and I'm going to then pass it down. So in this case here, my validation, let's see, where do I have my validation at? I'm going to validate sentence. If nothing's in there, I'm going to say sentence must be provided. And then I'm going to set my focus back to it, set my validation to false. But if it is provided, I'm going to take whatever's in there and put it into my variable called str sentence. I pass these both down by ref. Everybody good? Okay. Next thing I'm going to do, if it's validated, I'm going to count my vowels. I'm going to pass this sentence down, and I'm going to go through it. So, as I told you before, we got to figure out how long we want to loop. Well, we want to loop based upon the length of the sentence. Okay, that can be very dynamic. It could be 2 characters, 20 characters, 50 characters, whatever it is. I need to get the length, and what that length does, it returns the actual length of that particular string. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, now here's where the magic does come in. What I want to do is I want to loop until I'm at the end of that string. Now, we provided you with a couple of videos that talked about indexing. So even though a program allows us to break down break down a string, this collection of characters, you point to the characters of that string based upon what's called an index. What do I mean by that? Let's see. Let me go back over here. I'm going to utilize this. And, let's see. Let's go here. Sorry about this. Yeah, not doing very well. And we'll come back over here. There you go. And so if I have a string in here that says to be or not to be, when this is actually in our program, what it's saying here, this is the first location, right? An index, though, starts in the 0 location. So an index is a pointer to a location, just like if you went to a library and you got an index, right? The Dewey Decimal System, that's an index, pointing to where that book actually resides. In this case here, this is residing in the very first location. All programming languages, for some reason, nobody asked me, I would have made it 1, all start in the 0 location. So this T is starting in index 0. Okay, O is index 1. The space is index 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and it's not going to work as nice as we want it to be. Say B, this, and so on. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. All right, so this would be the 17th index. I believe I have that right. Is this 17 characters? I think it's 17 characters, 16th index. We'll look at that when we get into the code. But the index points to the location. It always starts at 0. So the whole line could be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 characters long. So my length would be 18. But this would be the first location 0, and the last location where the E is at is in the 17th index. So I can actually point to that if I wanted to. That's where the magic comes in at, understanding how an index works in this collection, okay? This is a collection of characters, and that's what we're pointing to. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, you got it. As soon as you understand indexes, you got it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop starting in the 0 location. Let's go back to this right here. Okay. I'm going to loop starting in the 0 location, starting at T, and I'm going to go to the total length, which was 18 minus 1. Why did I do minus 1? Well, I'm playing around in my code. I know the length was 18, but I know the last index was 17 because it always starts in this 0 location, all the way to, in this case, 17. So I'm going to loop from 0 to the 17th location in my in my string here. Make sense? What I'm going to do is go to that location, pull it off, int index, comma 1, and I get the character. And then I'm going to determine if the character is A, E, I, O, or U. I'm going to use this other little function. I'm going to cheat a little bit and use this function called toUpper. Every language has one of these also. And what it's going to do is take whatever character it is, if it's lowercase or uppercase, and make it an uppercase for me. It won't change it on the screen. It changes it in the variable. And that way, and it only changes it temporarily. That way I can compare apples and apples all the way through. And then so my first one through is a T, a vowel. In this case, no, it's not A, E, I, or U. Then it'll go, it's going to loop back up, go to the next one. Remember, a for next loop automatically increments by 1. And it'll go all the way through this and then go from there. Does that make sense? Okay, pretty slick, right? So let's look and see how this works. Let's go ahead and start this. And I won't go, let's see, let's go 2B. We're going to use 2 words here and count the vowels. So we're going to have 2 vowels. So I'm coming here. My length, as you see, is 5. So 2 space B. So that's actually 5 characters, right? I come in here. I go to the length here. It's going to start in my index 0 to the length 5 minus 1, the 4th position, the 4th index. Remember, 0 is the first one. 4 would be the last one in this case. It goes here. It's going to pull off the first character, which is a T. It's going to compare. T is not, and so it's not going to do that. Whoops. Let's get back here. Here we go. And it's going to go back up. Now I'm going to look at my next character. In this case here, my next character I pulled off is an O. And that is, so it's going to take that O, make it uppercase temporarily to compare, and we're going to add 1 to my vowel count. See how that works? I keep going. I'm going to loop all the way through until I am done. In this case is my last character right here. Let's see what we got. We're on, yep, we're on the E. And it's going to come up. I'm out of the string because my index is now at 5. And then I'm going to return this back. And once I return it back, it's going to display it. And there you are. Total is 2. Okay? So it's a combination of logic in doing this. It'd be the same thing for count the words. Count the words, I did the exact same thing. Instead of hunting for vowels, I hunted for a space in between each word. Okay, let's take a look at that to see if you can figure that out. It's basically the same thing. The only thing I kind of did was I made sure I trimmed a little bit, make sure there's no ambiguous spaces out there before and after, which would cause me a bunch of headaches. But I did the exact same thing in regards to that. Found that I trimmed spaces before and after. Then I went in and basically just dealt with counting the words, just looking at it like that. Are there other ways of doing this? Potentially, but using index of, maybe to count the words, finding spaces. I'll talk about that when we break things apart in the next video. All right, so this is how I did counting the vowels and so on. Again, taking that collection and breaking them all apart. I hope that makes sense. Take a look at this code. If you didn't get it to work, look at my results and try to get this to work and seek to understand. If you don't understand, ask questions, okay? Especially around the index. Once you grab the index, a little secret. Once you understand how to manipulate the index, use the for next loop, you now understand you're going to pick up arrays very, very, very quickly. I promise you. See you in the next video.